December 2nd, 2001. The seventh largest company in America files for bankruptcy. $74 billion in market value vanished. 20,000 jobs gone. Wall Street stood frozen. Not because it happened, but because nobody could explain how. This is the story of Enron, a company that dazzled investors, fooled the smartest minds on Wall Street, and pulled off the most sophisticated corporate fraud in American history. And when it all came crashing down, it changed the law forever. If you're interested in stories about corporate fraud and financial scandals, hit that subscribe button. We dive deep into the cases that shaped modern finance. Our story begins in 1985 in Houston, Texas. Two natural gas companies, InterNorth and Houston Natural Gas, merged to form what would become Enron. At first, it was boring, just another pipeline company moving natural gas from point A to point B. Nothing sexy, nothing revolutionary. But then came Kenneth Lay. Lay was a PhD economist with political connections that ran deep. He'd worked at the Pentagon, advised energy policy, and knew everyone who mattered in Washington. George H.W. Bush, close friend. George W. Bush called him Kenny Boy. Lay saw an opportunity. The government was deregulating energy markets, and he believed Enron could transform from a utility company into something much bigger, an energy trader. Suddenly, natural gas wasn't just pumped through pipes. It was bought, sold, hedged, and speculated on, just like stocks and bonds. Lay needed someone brilliant to pull this off, someone aggressive, someone who believed the rules didn't apply to him. He found Jeffrey Skilling. Skilling was a McKinsey consultant with an MBA from Harvard, sharp, charismatic, ruthless. When Lay hired him in 1990, Skilling pitched a radical idea: turn Enron into a gas bank. Instead of just moving gas, they would create financial contracts guaranteeing prices for buyers. Utilities loved it. It gave them certainty, and Enron could profit from the spreads. Within a few years, Skilling convinced Lay to sell Enron's physical assets, pipelines, power plants, and go all in on trading. Enron wasn't an energy company anymore. It was a financial institution. By the mid-1990s, Enron was trading electricity, coal, water rights, even weather derivatives. They launched Enron Online, a digital marketplace where energy could be bought and sold with the click of a button. The press went wild. Fortune magazine named Enron America's most innovative company 6 years in a row. The stock price soared from $7 in 1997 to $90 by 2000, a 1,200% gain in 3 years. Inside Enron headquarters, the culture was intense. Skilling believed in survival of the fittest. Employees were ranked on a scale of 1 to 5 every quarter. The bottom 10% fired. People worked 18-hour days. Backstabbing was common. Bonuses were massive. And everyone believed they were the smartest guys in the room. But beneath the hype, the foundation was cracking. Here's where things get interesting. Enron's growth looked explosive on paper. Revenue skyrocketed from $9 billion in 1995 to over $100 billion by 2000. Investors were ecstatic. But there was a problem. Much of that revenue wasn't real. Skilling had convinced the SEC to let Enron use something called mark-to-market accounting. Here's how it worked. Enron signs a 10-year energy contract. Instead of recording profit as cash comes in over 10 years, they count all the projected profit immediately, on day one. Wait, can you do that? They did. So if Enron signed a deal they thought would make $50 million over 10 years, they'd book $50 million in profit that same day. Even if the deal hadn't started, even if the projections were wildly optimistic, even if the deal eventually failed. And many did fail. Enron's broadband division, losing billions. The India power plant, a disaster. The blockbuster streaming deal, dead on arrival. But on paper, Enron looked like a cash printing machine. When the losses became too big to hide, Enron brought in Andrew Fastow, their chief financial officer, and the man who would design the fraud that fooled everyone. Fastow created hundreds of entities called Special Purpose Entities, or SPES. technically separate from Enron, but in reality, completely controlled by it. Here's the scam. Enron takes its worst assets, failing projects, mounting debts, and sells them to these SPEs. On paper, it looks like Enron is offloading risk and bringing in cash. In reality, Enron is funding both sides of the deal. It's like selling your broken car to your dog, giving him your credit card to pay for it, and then telling your spouse, "Look, honey, I made a sale." Fasto named these entities LJM1, LJM2, Raptor. Ridiculous names for ridiculous schemes. And the best part? Fasto personally controlled them. He skimmed millions of dollars into his own pockets while helping Enron hide tens of billions in debt. By 2001, these entities held over $30 billion in Enron's losses, and the whole house of cards depended on one thing: Enron's stock price staying high. You'd think someone would have noticed. Wall Street analysts, they gave Enron glowing reviews. Buy ratings across the board. Why? Because many of their firms were making millions from Enron. Merrill Lynch managed Enron's stock offerings. JP Morgan and Citigroup funded the fraudulent SPEs. Objectivity was optional, fees were not. Enron's auditor, Arthur Andersen, one of the big five accounting firms, was supposed to be the watchdog. Instead, they were complicit. Andersen made over $50 million a year from Enron, not just for auditing, but for consulting. That's right. The people hired to objectively review Enron's books were also advising Enron on how to manipulate them. Conflict of interest? Absolutely, but nobody cared. As long as the stock kept rising, nobody asked questions. In March 2001, Fortune reporter Bethany McLean published an article titled, "Is Enron Overpriced?" She asked a simple question: how does Enron actually make money? When she called Skilling, he couldn't answer. He sent CFO Andrew Fasto and a team of finance guys to explain. After 3 hours of documents and jargon, McLean still didn't understand. As she left, Fasto turned to her and said, "I don't care what you write, just don't make us look bad." Red flag. Around the same time, Enron Vice President Sharon Watkins noticed something was off. The numbers didn't add up. She sent an anonymous memo to Kenneth Lay warning him, "I am incredibly nervous that we will implode in a wave of accounting scandals." Lay ignored her. And then, in August 2001, Jeffrey Skilling resigned. Suddenly. No explanation, just, "I'm stepping down for personal reasons." The stock was at $50. Investors panicked. The SEC launched an investigation. October 16, 2001. Enron announces a $618 million quarterly loss. They admit to accounting errors. Translation: we've been lying. The stock plummeted from $50 to $30, then $20, then $10. By late November, it was under $1. Employees watched their retirement savings evaporate. Many had been told to invest their 401ks in Enron stock. Now, it was worthless. Meanwhile, executives cashed out millions. Ken Lay sold $70 million in stock while telling employees to stay strong. Jeff Skilling sold $60 million. Andrew Fasto pocketed $30 million. And then came December 2nd, 2001. Enron filed for bankruptcy, the largest in U.S. history at the time. 20,000 jobs gone. $74 billion in shareholder value vanished. The Senate called hearings. Executives testified under oath. Andrew Fasto invoked the Fifth Amendment, refused to answer. Kenneth Lay denied everything, claimed ignorance. Jeffrey Skilling played the same game. I had no knowledge of any wrongdoing. But Fasto eventually flipped. He cooperated with prosecutors and provided evidence that both Skilling and Lay knew exactly what was happening. In 2006, Skilling was convicted and sentenced to 24 years in prison. He served 12 and was released in 2018. Kenneth Lay was also convicted, but died of a heart attack before sentencing. Andrew Fasto got 6 years. Arthur Andersen, the accounting firm, was convicted of obstruction of justice. They'd shredded tons of documents. The firm collapsed. 85,000 people lost their jobs. Merrill Lynch, JP Morgan, Citigroup, they all paid fines, but no one went to jail. Sarbanes-Oxley and beyond. Enron didn't just destroy lives, it exposed a broken system. Congress scrambled to respond. In 2002, they passed the Sarbanes-Oxley Act, the most sweeping financial reform since the Great Depression. CEOs now had to personally certify their company's financial statements. Auditors faced stricter independence rules. Penalties for fraud were increased. It wasn't perfect, but it was a start. Enron became a cautionary tale, a reminder that greed, unchecked, can destroy everything. But here's the thing. The lessons didn't stick. Just 6 years later, the 2008 financial crisis proved that Wall Street hadn't learned. Lehman Brothers, Bear Stearns, the same recklessness, the same greed. And today, Jeffrey Skilling is out of prison. According to reports, he's been meeting with former Enron executives, discussing new ventures in the energy sector. The SEC banned him from leading any public company, but private ventures, perfectly legal. So maybe the real question isn't what happened at Enron. It's whether we've truly learned anything at all. If this story opened your eyes to how easily the system can be gamed, hit that subscribe button. We're breaking down more stories like this, frauds, scandals, and the lessons they left behind. Don't miss the next one.